This is no wilderness years. This is a wasteland. Don't get me wrong. Plenty of product from the established authorised media, but a definite no-go sign. Definite no man's land. Definite bar to any fresh, young or old amateur who has an idea to inject life into Doctor Who. The drawbridge is up. The ladder has been pulled away. We are left with crushed dreams, optimism and hopes that have nowhere to navigate themselves in the Doctor Who landscape. A true wasteland for Doctor Who fans. That was the essence of what me and John, Sci-Fi Chronicle 79, discussed yesterday using the source as input.
Women! Oh, shut the fool up!
I mean, we've all wanted to write for Doctor Who, be in Doctor Who, work for Doctor Who, or just be close to its production. Tell me where the 15-year-old Brendan, me, could go now with his Crisis on Sapron script. I had chaos and destruction. I had a re-energized Galaxy 5 and brought them to the heart of the Galactic Federation. Two prominent 1970s ideas that the programme had failed to utilise. I had a sixth Doctor seemingly into a regeneration caused by a bomb going off before he defused it, trying to save people. Marundan Vipers all surrounding Peri as she tries to save the Doctor from the rubble, and the Emperor of Marunda, the dominant force in Galaxy 5, about to enact his plans to destroy the Galactic Federation. Politics, bomb explosions, Imperial fleets, Vipers of Death spitting toxic venom and a phantom regeneration. I was 15. Where would that kid go now? Would I be the right class, region, colour, sexuality, hit the right quarters, know the right people? These are parts of my script when I was 15. End of episode 1, the Doctor's in the rubble. The whole Galactic Federation is like a United Nations, and the bomb he knew was there. He went in there, risked his life, the bomb went off, you see his hand, that sort of thing. Assassination plot. Then you've got the Emperor of Marundi leaving his strategy chamber, this 3D cinema scope. This was 1985, this. The Emperor, greatly illuminated, confidently orders the pods of Vipers, his first wave of attack to be launched immediately. And you saw these Marundan Vipers are all there stirring. Suddenly there's no light at all, only the eerie glow from the distant sun in Galaxy 5. Everyone stands still. Peri tries to walk nearer the Doctor, suddenly walking into a Viper that was balancing on the girder, and its piercing red eyes light up immediately. She quickly backs off and falls over a mound of rubble. There she wakes 6 Marundan Vipers, their red probing eyes seen through the dark and training their eyes on their blind target Peri. And then you've got there was another scene, and then she's stumbling around across the wreckage. She screams as one lock of the security door behind the Golden Gates has exploded, and that brief moment of light reveals where the Doctor is, and she dashes to his side. On the dark green bridge of the Marundan battlecruiser, a red switch flashes on the console in front of the Emperor. He snarls and orders a small troop of 4 militia to be materialised into the stateroom. And it goes on. This is what we've all done. I'm nothing special. And this is the essence of our discussion and why it's so important. Are we in a wasteland or just a wilderness? So, do enjoy our next part of our discussion, our bite-sized, the bit I couldn't get in from Sirens of Audio and my detoxer Dan. Sirens of Audio, as you know, do lots of Big Finish. They had a lot to say. So, do enjoy Dwayne's and Dan's contribution with me to add their thoughts and expertise. Every fan is involved. We have to be engaged. Get that like, hype and subscribe button doing overtime. Otherwise, that 15-year-old Brendan will be as crushed as the 6th Doctor was in the Sapronian explosion.
I would prefer to call what we've got now the wasteland. It's not the wilderness. It is a complete wasteland, because so much has been added to Doctor Who lore. It's too much. It's too much for the IP to handle, and there's too many conflicting things in there.
I think we will have to move on. I think this is going to be a problem that we're going to keep seeing arise as we keep looking back. Every time we've said in the last 10 years, even in the show, that we're going to, it's a fresh start. We don't seem to be able to have a fresh start anymore, do we?
Yeah.
Each time we've had a fresh start, it's been a complete, I mean, even with Disney Who, I mean, it was the most non-fresh start you could possibly have, really, in hindsight, with the 2 seasons.
That I know, I must admit, I keep going back to those specials, thinking, is that where you wanted to start with your fresh ideas? And this is what I mean. And I keep linking it with Big Finish because Dwayne can see over the years, and equally Dwayne can tell us all the fantastic stuff that they might still be doing in pockets here and there in certain series. But you do get the idea that the big ideas have been done, and now we're starting to see, right, the secondary and the third layer of, Sarah Jane's early years, the origins that I'm bored and I'm wanting to buy Big Finish, and I do want to get some Big Finish.
To call this period a new wilderness years, though, is a little bit disingenuous because it's hard to compare now with then. Back then, we had 7 incarnations of a Doctor who we thought had 13 incarnations.
Yeah.
So we had, how many left? 5 left. And the Virgin New Adventures were focusing on this slightly new direction of a dark 7th Doctor, manipulative 2nd Doctor. Then we went into then we had the telly movie and went into the 8th Doctor novels as well. So they were a good series in themselves, but they, there was only of the Virgin New Adventures, there was only 50 of them, was there? So there wasn't the thousands and thousands of Big Finish that we have.
That's secrets to unlock. Clever boy.
Sorry, I was just going to make the point that the other big difference was that for many of us, we were just getting to experience the whole classic series again, coming to VHS and DVD for the first time. So many of us were seeing classic Doctor Who for the first time. So, it felt through that whole 15 years that we were getting, it was a revival. It never felt like, it certainly didn't feel like the series had run out of steam, did it, Dwayne?
That's right. And then UK TV started in Australia on cable television in the mid-90s. So then they started running Doctor Who from the beginning again there when it wasn't on the ABC anymore. I think we had a run right from Unearthed Child in the 30th anniversary, 93, and then it started again on UK TV. And then they did it again on ABC in the early 2000s. So that 10-year period was a real boon for classic era.
Now, when I was
revisiting and expanding. Yeah.
Now, when I was showing you the slides, this one, I felt as though you had something to say about this. This is the Mid-Journey thing and spare parts, isn't it? And of course, he said that's why this guy who did this AI thing of a Cyberman, the spare parts, the Big Finish, and suddenly got closed down. That was sad. It was terribly sad. And I understand that on doing YouTube as you do, that basically you can have a copyright strike, you can have a copyright kind of warning that you can't be monetized, blah, blah, blah. That's the world we're in. That's basically what's happened here. And that's because the proprietor, the copyright owner, has said, I'm not happy with it. I thought you had something to say about this, Dwayne, because I could see you reacting when I showed you this the first time. Do you know more about this?
Well, I probably reacted because I did see this when it was first released, and I thought how amazing it was. It just added so much, because what a classic story Spare Parts is, and to get that little scene was just amazing. So I was a little sad to see that it had been taken down. I don't know what the details are behind it exactly, whether they're just trying to shut down things because it's AI, or they're stopping fans from doing it. Maybe it's Big Finish on their own. Maybe it's a combination of Big Finish and the BBC, because if he's using the audio for this from Big Finish, the BBC might be saying to Big Finish, "You've got to do something about this because you're the licensee, and we're not happy about Doctor Who being used unofficially there." It's not because one of the conditions, I believe, of the Big Finish license is that they only do audio. So if you look at their trailers and things, you'll never see an animated trailer for any story. You'll see stills come up on their trailers, their video trailers, but you'll never see an animation because that's a condition of the license. So their license could be in jeopardy if their audio is out there attached to this. I don't know, because I've seen other animations out there that have been done and the creator has said, I can't, for copyright reasons, attach the audio. So take this video and sync it up with your purchased Big Finish audio. And that's worked as well. So, and I don't think there's been an issue with that. So combining the, maybe if Midjourney did something like that, then it would be okay. As it has been the case with other animators. But so I don't know the full story. If they're specifically trying to, if it's a conspiracy to shut down amateur creators, I don't know. I just don't know all the facts.
I wonder if it's a crossover with like the heat that they've been applying, I think, to people like Ian Levine trying to recreate things using AI. Because I mean, he's obviously having to defend his recreations in AI. I mean, it's obviously it's going to be an issue that's going to keep coming up into the future now that with AI proliferating. So
I get, and I agree that the BBC should start caring about its products. So in one way, I can't have it both ways. I think the BBC should be a curator for Doctor Who. It's a shame they don't understand science fiction, but anyway, they should. So therefore they might chase up any amateur who starts to dabble with the name Doctor Who, the music of Doctor Who, a character from Doctor Who, and all that jazz. I get that. In other words, it isn't the 90s again. It just never will be, because they have more interest now. But my concern then is, so the ideas are going to be that echo chamber that's now at the top, who've actually pulled the drawbridge up, who've pulled the ladder from behind them, from under them, and that's it. We're going to be left with this echo chamber, and that's why the media's dying. That's why YouTube is taking off and other streams are taking off and other people's programs are, because what is delivered on TV, terrestrial TV, and actually on some of the streaming platforms, it's just an echo chamber. And so sadly, maybe Doctor Who has been so infiltrated now that those lovely fertile 90s, it's just gone.
Well, we don't have a monoculture anymore, so you're going to see all the creative stuff that you're seeing popping up is online these days anyway. So I don't think they can put that genie back in the bottle, even if they wanted to. And I mean, it seems like an odd thing to do too, because the BBC have been, how many of these artists have been tapped on the shoulder to come and work with them in the last few years? They've had some of these guys that have, kind of proven their mettle with, title sequences and, even the AI recreations, and they've been incorporated into the main show.
Stephen Moffat, when he used that one, and then I think
the deep fakers, the people doing deep fakes have been used to recreate stuff.
But we know this from, I suppose this is, Drain, exactly what's happened with, when we all heard that, when you get your version of Sky or Netflix or whatever, that one day, instead of having only a few channels, you're going to have so much choice. And actually, we all sit here now going, we've got millions of channels, but actually there's nothing to watch because it's all the same.
You don't want to watch anything. Yeah, that's exactly right.
That feels like Doctor Who as well now. And actually, on the point of the wilderness years and defining it, we have had the wilderness years even when Doctor Who's been on, because there's a lot of us Doctor Who fans saying, but we haven't had Doctor Who. The wilderness years haven't started this year. We've had them for quite a few years now.
Unfortunately, he can't get in. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting.
There are a few points in there that that are not quite correct, particularly where he spoke of Big Finish making the amateur stuff and then taking that to the BBC. That didn't happen. The amateur stuff actually happened during the time that the TV show was on. So it was called Audio Visuals. And it was done by Gary Russell, Nick Briggs, and Jason Haig-Ellery was involved with that too. And I think even at one stage, Bill Baggs was involved with that early on. And that took place between 1984 and 1991. So it was during the TV show. So it wasn't actually that Big Finish took to the BBC, because originally the BBC declined giving a license to Big Finish. And I think when he's saying the BBC didn't care about Doctor Who, I think they were right. And that was why they just didn't care to give Big Finish the license, because they thought, who are you, go away. But then they got the rights to make the Bernice Summerfield books from Paul Cornell, and they did a season of Bernice Summerfield, and so that's what they ended up taking to the BBC. The BBC thought, oh, they actually can do some good stuff, and so then they gave them the license from there. So yes, it's true, the BBC didn't seem to care much about Doctor Who, the licensees or any potential licensees, but it certainly wasn't the amateur stuff that got Big Finish the gig. It was their Benny Summerfield stuff.
Yeah.
Those audio visuals, that the amateur stuff that the source was referring to, actually finished in 91. So there was a big gap between the end of that and then when the Bennies came out. Yeah, the first season of Bennies. So they're adapting the New Adventures novels as well. So some of those were adapted to take out the Doctor and just use Benny. I think Just War is a good example of one of the New Adventure novels that was adapted to remove the Doctor. Walking to Babylon was another one. Yeah, there are a couple there like that.
I mean, the Big Finish umbrella is now much part of the establishment regarding the BBC copyright, character names. You know, there's a kind of liaison now between RTD and what Big Finish can release or do or focus on, a bit like with the Doctor Who magazine as well. So is he right in that respect, though, that things have moved on now, where basically if we happen to be not as accomplished as Big Finish, because we'd be starting from scratch, but if we were doing something similar now, that there's just no possibility because it's a closed market?
Yeah, and it comes down to the BBC not caring about the IP, I think either financially or creatively at the time in the 90s. So they were happy to give the license out willy-nilly to Virgin for the New Adventures and eventually give a license to Big Finish. Because keep in mind that even Bill Baggs was doing Doctor Who style audios. He had a bunch of audios called the Time Travelers, which was basically the Professor and Ace. So he had Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred doing some stuff at the same time as Big Finish. So there was unofficial stuff going on there too. He's not very well regarded these days, Bill Baggs, for some of his other practices as well, and some of the things he did along those lines. But nevertheless, I think if he was doing something that overt these days, I think the BBC would be cracking down on it, because even though they're a bit creatively bankrupt at the moment, I think they're still looking at the money side of it and the licensing, which has been very it's been there for 27 years now, 26 years, a Big Finish license. Then you got the comics licensing and other licenses that they have too, toys as well. So there are other licenses that have been in place for quite a long time now that Big Finish would be thinking about when it comes to the financial side of it rather than the creative side.
You've seen Big Finish clearly all the way through. Are you seeing a dearth of ideas? I mean, what part of the source's argument is it's a closed shop now. They're running out of ideas, as you would, and he understands that, because you're just dominating a brand and you run out of ideas. So now you're doing, let's have Sarah Jane meets a Wolfweed and see if there's any storyline in it. We're running. Plus he's even joking about the recast, that they're thinking, oh my God, we can get loads of people who can impersonate people, and it's gone like that. Anyway, my point is the same, which is, as he said, have they run out of ideas? Have you seen that happen over the time? And is this going to be a problem?
No, I think he's right to be cynical about it to a degree, because when he mentioned that the Daleks are in it as much as possible because they sell, well, that is true. That I always think the Daleks have been overused. The Daleks have never been my favourite Doctor Who monster anyway. They're integral to Doctor Who, of course. You couldn't see it without them, but I do think they've been overused. But as far as a closed shop goes, well, when Big Finish started, they had an open submission policy back in the early days, so anyone could submit ideas to them, and that have got them a chance. And sometimes it was a success, sometimes it wasn't. But boy, those early Gary Russell years, those first 5 or 6 years of Big Finish, there was some magical stuff in there that was absolutely incredible. And some writers had come on who had their first shot through either maybe they'd written a new adventure or something and come on and done an audio and then continued to do lots of audios. But some of them had never done anything before, and this was their first shot at anything, and they've gone on and they're still doing Big Finish stuff to this day. Unfortunately, it's been a long time now that Big Finish has been a closed door when it comes to that open submissions policy. They only run one competition a year, a short story competition once a year, where you get a chance and you go in a pool of thousands of people, and if you impress the judging panel, you get an opportunity for a 30 to 40 minute short story at the end of the year, and then if they really like it, and then maybe they'll commission you to do something else. But it's only really one person a year that gets a chance to do that, whereas it was an open submission policy before. And it's a real shame, because it was a golden period for Big Finish, in my opinion. Yeah.
So do you think, we all know there's agendas now and everything, and the people who are running Doctor Who and have final say over lots of things have had agendas, and so that and added to what you've just said means there will be less fresh blood of maybe fresh ideas ever even allowed through the door. Are you seeing that though, with what you're seeing with Big Finish, that the ideas all have to be on a certain palette? That obviously there's not much fresh blood, that it's all people who know each other, they're all in that, as he called it, the RTD court. Is this what you're witnessing with Big Finish?
I don't think everyone who's writing for Big Finish has to be on the same palette as you call it. But when you do see new names, they certainly seem to have a particular style of writing that very often doesn't appeal to me as a long-time listener, but it would appeal to a certain group, if you take my meaning. And I get tired of those ideas coming through all the time. I just want a good story. I just want a good science fiction story that's fresh, that's inventive, and that it takes me away from planet Earth's issues. You know what I mean? It takes me somewhere else.
Yeah.